The air in the bedroom was thick with silence, broken only by the sharp clink of her wedding ring as it hit the nightstand. "For a month you'll be without intimacy, without my touch," Lila said, her voice low, trembling with something I couldn't name. Anger, maybe, or something colder. Her eyes, usually warm like honey, were sharp, slicing through me as she turned and left the room. My chest tightened, a fist squeezing my lungs. What had I done? The question clawed at me, but no answer came. Only the echo of her words and the hollow thud of the door closing behind her. I stood frozen, the carpet rough under my bare feet, the room dim under the flicker of a dying bulb. Lila and I had been married 6 years. Our love a steady rhythm, imperfect but constant. Or so I'd thought. Her words weren't just a punishment. They were a signal, a crack in the foundation I hadn't seen coming. I replayed the last weeks in my mind, searching for clues. Was it the late nights I'd spent at the office? The distracted dinners where my phone buzzed more than we talked? Or something deeper, something I'd missed in the blur of routine? The next morning, the kitchen smelled of burnt toast and unspoken accusations. Lila moved like a ghost, her movements precise but distant, pouring coffee without meeting my eyes. "I'm heading to the gallery today," she said, her tone flat, like she was reciting lines. She was an artist, her paintings vibrant swirls of emotion, but today her face was a blank canvas. I wanted to ask what was wrong, to bridge the chasm between us, but the words stuck in my throat. "Okay," I mumbled, hating the cowardice in my voice. She grabbed her bag and left, the door's soft click louder than a slam. Alone, I wandered the house, my footsteps heavy on the hardwood. My eyes caught on small things. Her scarf draped over the couch, a half-read book on the coffee table, its pages dog-eared. Normal except for the unease curling in my gut. I opened my laptop, telling myself I was checking emails, but my fingers drifted to her social media. A habit born of curiosity, not suspicion, or so I'd thought. Her posts were sparse, mostly art-related, but one photo stopped me cold. Lila at a gallery event, laughing, her hand resting on a man's arm. The caption read, "Feeling inspired." The man's face was half hidden, but his posture, too close, too familiar, sent a shiver down my spine. I shook it off. She was friendly, always had been. Artists networked, it was her world. But the seed was planted, and doubt is a weed that grows fast. I scrolled further, my heart thudding. A comment from someone named Ethan. "Can't wait to see you again." My stomach churned. Who was Ethan? I clicked his profile, private, except for a few photos. One showed him at the same gallery event, his smile sharp, his eyes locked on Lila. I slammed the laptop shut, my breath ragged. It was nothing. It had to be nothing. Days passed, each one heavier than the last. Lila's distance grew, her smiles rare and strained. At night, she slept on the edge of the bed, her back a wall I couldn't scale. I tried to talk, to ask what was wrong, but her answers were vague, her eyes darting away. "I just need space," she'd say, her voice soft but unyielding. Space from what? From me? The question gnawed at me, but I couldn't bring myself to push harder. Fear held me back. Fear of what I might uncover. Then came the text. I was at work, my desk cluttered with papers, when my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. "Ask Lila about Ethan." My heart stopped. The office noise, phones ringing, keyboards clacking, faded to a dull hum. I read it again, my fingers trembling. Who sent this? Why? I wanted to call her, to demand answers, but the image of her face, closed off and cold, stopped me. Instead I replied, "Who is this?" No response. The silence was deafening. That night, I waited for her in the living room, the text burning a hole in my mind. When she walked in, her cheeks flushed from the autumn chill, I couldn't hold it in. "Who's Ethan?" I asked, my voice sharper than I meant. Her eyes widened, just for a second, before her face smoothed into something unreadable. "A colleague," she said, setting her bag down with deliberate care. "Why?" "Someone texted me. Told me to ask you about him." I watched her closely, searching for a crack in her composure. Her lips parted, then closed. "That's weird," she said, her voice too light, too casual. "Probably a prank." She moved to the kitchen, but her hands shook as she poured water. I followed, my pulse racing. Lila, what's going on? You've been different. Distant. And now this. She turned, her eyes flashing. You're paranoid, Mark. I'm stressed, that's all. Work's been intense. Her defensiveness cut deeper than her words. I wanted to believe her, to cling to the life we'd built, but the text, the photo, her coldness, they were pieces of a puzzle I didn't want to solve. The next week was a slow descent. I couldn't stop watching her, noting every glance at her phone, every late night at the gallery. I hated myself for it, for the suspicion poisoning my love for her. But the signs were there, small but sharp. A new perfume I didn't recognize, a locked phone she never used to hide, a receipt for a coffee shop we never visited together. Each one was a pinprick, building to a wound I couldn't ignore. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. One night, after she fell asleep, I took her phone. My hands shook as I entered her passcode, our anniversary, a detail that now felt like a cruel joke. Her messages with Ethan were there, a thread spanning weeks. Miss you already, he wrote. Last night was everything, she replied. My vision blurred, the words searing into me. There were more intimate, undeniable. My knees buckled, and I sank to the floor, the phone slipping from my hand. The betrayal was a blade, cutting through 6 years of memories. I wanted to scream, to shake her awake, to demand why. But the why didn't matter. The truth was there, raw and ugly. I thought of confronting her, of tearing our life apart in a blaze of anger. But another thought stopped me, one so wild it felt like someone else's. I could leave, not just walk out, but vanish. Let her wake to an empty house, to the weight of her own choices. I spent the night packing a single bag, my movements mechanical. Every photo, every trinket, was a reminder of what we'd been. I wrote no note, left no trace. At dawn, I stood at the door, my heart a storm of grief and resolve. I didn't know where I'd go, only that staying would destroy me. As I stepped into the cold morning, the door clicking shut behind me, I felt a strange relief. She'd declared me without her touch for a month. I'd decided she'd be without me forever.